Hiya! Today I'd like to share a very exciting art haul with you. I ordered some ink samples from a German website and they just arrived, so I'm going to swatch them out for you. I don't know exactly how to do it because there's a lot of them. So I think what I'll do first is I'll create all the labels in my sketchbooks and then I'll start swatching them. I think that will be the most efficient way to show you. Actually, you know what? I completely changed my mind. I think I'll swatch them out first. I'll do them in an order, so I'll know which one is which. I'll label them afterwards. I just think it will give you a bit more of a... if I write down all the names first, then you won't have any surprises. But if I just swatch them as I go, you will. But I'll probably number them, just so I know what I'm doing and I remember which one's which. Cool. Yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so I just wrote the numbers down. I believe there are 31 inks, or ink samples rather. And I'll be using this brush, these two brushes, just cheap brushes, so that I can test them out. I have some fresh water. Okay, let's start. Oh, they're all upside down. This will be fun when they all spill out. Oh, and they sent me this tiny chocolate bar and a handwritten note addressed to me, so that was very cute. I don't think I can pronounce the name of the website I got it from, so I'll just add the name to the description, so you can visit their website if you wish. So I'm not going to do it in any particular order, I'm just going to go for it, because there's just so many. In this sketchbook, Royal Talents, Art Creations, I'll do them all. And then in these, I'll do my favorites, because otherwise we'll be here all day. Yeah, for the longest while, I wanted to try out some samples, but I couldn't find any in the UK. And what turned out, I just found this website by chance, by searching for some samples, and I decided to buy the inks buy the samples instead of ordering a couple bottles. I just thought a bit more value for money because you get to try all of them. So here's the first one, Octopus Write and Draw Ink by Octopus Fluids, Alpaca Pink. And hopefully there won't be too much mess. And I have my towel to dry the brush. So this is more for like drawing. Oh, this brush is slightly dirty, so let's make sure that it's clean. And I'm going to try and make them bleed a little, just to kind of give it more of a test. And maybe add a bit more. Oops. Maybe it's not the most saturated, that's fine. Should have probably done them side by side in two different sketchbooks, but that's okay. We'll see how long this one takes in the first place. And then I'll decide what to do next. I recently realized that I take forever in my videos. Even if I plan like a quick one, I end up talking for like an hour. This is very pretty. This one is Iroshizuku Hana Ikada. Nope, that didn't work. I'm just worried because the paper is a bit too much. One sec. This won't work. Time to whip out the biggest ball dot clip I have. That should work a little bit better. Okay, then number 3. There's a lot of water in this one. Let's try it again. This one's Herbin Bleu Azur. Bleu Azur. I don't know how to pronounce French words. As much as I love languages, French isn't one of the languages I know well. Or at all. At all is better. More close to truth. Okay, now we have number 4. This one's weird. It's got some shimmer in it, so let's shake it a bit. Don't know how to shake this one because... Anyway, I think that worked. It's a shimmering, so I'll hold it up later for you so you can see it more in its glory. It's beautiful, reddish. So it's Diamine Shimmer Electric Pink. I think I'll start just using up what I don't use. I just like swatching things out in my sketchbooks just randomly, so I'll do that. I can then draw on top of it in Sophie McPike's style. Okay. Let's keep going. Number 5. You can probably tell my favorite colors from this, like colors that I buy at least for painting and drawing with. Not my best test. And I've completely forgotten to do this one well. But I think this will still probably work a little bit. So this one's Pelican 4001 Pink. Number 6. Oh, this one should be this one. Should be next bit. Oh, that's saturated. No, I'm expecting this. No. Even though I have quite a few inks, I think that's a very nice and affordable way to try them out without breaking the bank. And I don't end up with loads of ink. This one I just bought because I wanted to try out an alternative to my blue ink. So this is just like a regular, I think it's document blue sort of ink. Let's use it up first. Oops, maybe too much water. And this one is Twisby Blue, number 7. And then we have Rohrer and Klinger. I already spoiled it, so Blue Mare. Also very saturated. I'm always torn between saturated and pastel colors, but this has something in it. It's quite lovely. Very saturated, like very hard to get rid of it once you have it on the brush. So these are the first bag of inks, and I think we just need to keep going. Ooh, that's a very nice grey. And this one is the Amina 150th anniversary Silver Fox. I'm not sure if 150th anniversary is like a limited edition, but the color is Silver Fox. Ooh, beautiful. So this was like on that website. I noticed that they suggested like a black starter set, black inks starter set for people who wanted to try out all the black inks. But I didn't really want to get all those samples, so I just got a few that I thought looked promising. And this particular one is Iroshizuku Takesumi. I'm not sure, does sumi mean like black or something like this? Then we go to this one. And I can tell you that this is a scented ink. And in my experience, those inks weren't doing that very well, but this one seems quite good so far. And they usually have like bits in them, which I'm not a fan of. That's because I assume it's because they use actual plants in them. Oh, this doesn't like the paper. And it looks like it will bleed to the other side of the paper. And this one's, but the smell is fantastic. It's Herbin scented violet. One of my favorite scented things in the world is violet. It reminds me of Lush shampoo, violet shampoo. Okay, let's try this ink. Number 12. This one's very deep. It's not quite black, it's like a plum color. Ooh. I'm glad I'm testing it out here at the same time. There's something really interesting happening with this, which is why I keep adding water to it, because it's... Oh, this might be my favorite new ink. Or rather, my new favorite. This is just stunning. There's something that they've added to it that makes it just really lovely. Oops, I forgot to do this. So this ink is Sailor Dipton Ripe Fig. And so far, out of all of those inks, this is my favorite. So this literally arrived today, just a couple hours ago. So you're the first ones to see it with me as I unbox them. This is really lovely as well. I don't know if you can quite see, but it's separating the color, like greenish, grayish, purplish. Really cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to pick out my favorites and do a little bit more swatching. So this one's number 13, Sailor Ink Studio, number 224. And something was telling me that Sailor Ink will not be disappointing, but I was a bit scared to risk spending a lot of money. They're quite pricey. So I'm glad I tried them out, because it would be quite hard to pick without testing them first. I'm really impressed with both of them actually, both Sailors. This one, number 14, is Octopus Write and Draw ink with Frog Grey. And these inks, I don't know about the others, but these inks, when dry, they become permanent, so you can paint watercolor on top of them and stuff like that. So that's very useful. And that's why I got this red one for line work and things like that. But I quite like this one as well, Frog Grey. This one's scented as well. I expected this one to smell much nicer, but it's not. It's Harbin Scented Orange, and I don't know if it's because I just smelled violet that I can't quite make out the scent of orange or not, but it's slightly disappointing. And this is not like pure orange color either, which you'd expect. Like this one looks perfectly violet colored. This one's what prompted me to get samples, because I just loved the look of it when I watched some swatching videos. It's like, to me, it's like Payne's Grey of ink. And it's Octopus, Write and Draw, Fox Grey. And their names of their colors have nothing to do with the colors. They're kind of all over the place. I guess that's just their thing. But this ink was on my list to get a full bottle, so I quite like it, but I'm looking forward to trying it a bit more. Oops, I forgot that. Oops, that took a lot. That's interesting, and I'll tell you why that's interesting in a second. Just check. You probably can't see this very well on the video, but this ink is kind of like brownish, grayish color. I guess the name is black. So I don't know if that was like a mistake or whether that ink is just got a slightly misleading name, but it's like a brownish color. It's this one here, and it's definitely not black. Maybe when used in like a fountain pen, it's got a different kind of look. It's by Twisby, and it's just black. I have another one. Oh, this should be fun. This is a good test, because I would love to see what I can use in the sketchbook. So I can see where the inks aren't quite right in the sketchbook. This is quite a cool ink. It's quite bright, as in doesn't have much color, but it's interesting and I quite like the color. It's Diamine Celadon Cat. I quite like it. Oops, I almost messed up the entire system. Oh, I'm almost tempted to leave this one for last, but I'm just going to go for it. Uh-oh. Interesting. Not that much to this ink, and I'm running out of space in the sketchbook, but just before I take it away, just look at this Dipton, the Dipton Sailor ink. It's just doing stuff. You can't really see it in this light, but it's very, very purplish and reddish. And I wonder why it's not coming through. Maybe it's just like too neon. Neon colors don't record very well. But yeah, hopefully you can see that a little bit. It's closer to this color than it is to like this color. It's much more purplish. But yeah, it's really hard to catch these kinds of colors on camera. Imagine something in between this and this kind of mixed in together. I'm going to put another sketchbook down. So this is Mixed Media by Massery. And I'll just use the last page, although I might need more space. Okay. Is this? Oh, I left it open. That's asking for trouble, isn't it? This one's Sailor Dipton Coral Humming, and it's not quite as nicely color changing as I was expecting, but I think I need to do more tests. This is an interesting ink. Ooh, it's starting to change color. That's interesting. It's not the brightest, but it's definitely got color separation. And this one's Sailor Ink Studio number 123, 123. And I really like it. I think it could be quite nice to paint skies or stuff like that, just to make it like a bit surrealistic. Surrealistic, is that a word? This is very deep blue. Oh wow. This is a very interesting color. There sure is loads of pigment in this. I'm just going to wash it off now. For the sake of time. I think I've asked this already, and people preferred longer videos with lots of chatting. But I recently released a video that was an hour and a half long, almost. And when I released the shorter version, definitely did way more on Instagram, on YouTube. So I don't know, let me know again what you think, because there's a lot more new followers here. By the way, I just reached 400 followers a few days ago, and I'm very, very, very grateful for you all. And I hope you continue to enjoy the content here. And I guess I don't often... Hang on. I'll finish my sentence in a second. So this is Herban Nude. Kind of accurate name, but I expected something a little bit more exciting looking. We're coming to an end slowly. Not quite yet, but this water is definitely done. So I'll use this old jam jar to continue. Okay, don't know what to do next. Let's do this one. So this is another one I bought for line work and things like that. It's a bit kind of muted bluish color, but again it dries permanent, so it's waterproof once dry. And it's Octopus Write and Draw Lynx Blue. And what was I going to say? Oh, I was just going to introduce myself to those of you who haven't been here for a long time. I'm Kama, also known as Weird is the Best, and I love anything art related. I love drawing, painting, I love printmaking, all sorts of good things. It brings me joy and happiness, and I have a day job, and I have this on the, like, I don't want to say on the side, but I do. I spend a lot of time like learning about new materials and new techniques and that sort of thing. This ink is Octopus Write and Draw Orange Skunk. Really nice shade of orange. So yeah, I do a lot of mixed media, art, digital, traditional painting, ink drawings, pencil drawings, colored pencils. I dabbled in collage. I just love trying new techniques. I didn't go to an art school. I went and studied computer science, and that's what my job is. But I absolutely love anything art related, and I love finding out new things, new workshops. Any recommendations you want to give me in the comments, they're always well received. And also, I'm not the only person reading the comments, so it might come useful to other people. So yeah, whatever you want to say, you're welcome to drop it in the comments. This one's Pelican Edelstein Mandarin. And this color, unlike orange, represents the fruit pretty well. It's very close to a mandarin color. And then we have a few more, not that much left. I've overestimated how many I ordered. I kept changing my mind and removing things from my basket and re-adding them. Just trying to be sensible, I guess, if I can. If I can ever be sensible about art materials. Yeah, so on this channel you can find a lot of swatching videos, art supply hauls, that sort of thing. You can see lots of sketchbook tours and draw with me videos, occasional comics work, although sadly the algorithm doesn't like it, so not many of you end up seeing them. But I do also love drawing comics, and I'm working on a graphic novel. So yeah, that's a bit about me. I won't bore you too much. This one's Twisby Prayer Green. I can't say this word. Prayer. I don't know if you can spot it yet, but there's something really interesting happening on this page. And I can't wait to show you. But I'll finish those off first because there's not that much left. As in a couple left. And this is quite interesting as well. Okay, I know my favorite new brand of ink. This one's Sailor Manio Nadeshiko. And it's lovely, another lovely ink. Oops. This one's also lovely. I'm just checking on the time. Okay, I just realized that I wasn't in focus. I should have learned my lesson. The first video I ever recorded, which I couldn't post, had the top of my head in the video and not what I was drawing. But I should have learned my lesson, and I haven't. So I'm just quickly going to run through them with you. I probably will not delete that footage because I was talking a lot about what I do and, you know, just bringing it a bit closer to you. So 17. Let's go from the back, from the last one. This one's Sailor Manio, and it's probably a better way to show you anyway because you can see their effects a bit closer. So it's got like a bit of color separation, which is really lovely. It's Sailor Manio Haha. Sorry, but I can't not laugh seeing a name like this. Then 27 was Sailor Manio Nadeshiko, and it's absolutely stunning. It's got a lovely separation from pinks to purples, or indigo sort of shade. Then we have Prayer Green by Twisby. This is number 26. Then we have 25, which was the Mandarin Pelican Edelstein. I believe it's pronounced Edelstein because it's German. And then we have Octopus Orange Skunk, and it really didn't go well on this stock, which is a shame because I want to use it in mixed media. That's one of the main inks I wanted to use for that reason. But the other ones did alright, so I'm not sure what's going on. Then we have Lynx Blue, which is number 23. It's got a little bit of separation. It's also by Octopus. And it's much nicer. I guess it depends on pigment. And I might have to try them out in a different sketchbook just to make sure that it's nothing else that's impacted it. Then we have Harbin Nude. Don't like it. Don't want to speak too much about it because I don't have much to say. And then we have 21, and that's the one I was talking about earlier, about something interesting happening. It's Sailor Dipton Blue Flame, I believe, not Blue Flame. Can you see this sheen? It's fantastic. That's one of my favorites so far. Really lovely. And I also used it here, but here it didn't pull up as much. So it's not, the sheen is absolutely invisible, which is interesting, but it's still got a lot of pigment. You know, this is the one I was talking about, having loads of pigment in. Still a lovely deep blue. I wonder if it's suitable for fountain pens because of the shimmer stuff in it. I don't quite know yet about this side of things. And I think you probably saw this one already. Sailor Dipton Coral Humming. And it's number 19. It's quite coral. It's quite accurate name. And then we had Celadon Cat by Diamine on number 18. So these are all the inks. My favorite so far is number 13, which was one of the Sailor colors. I also love number 7, which would have been Twisby Blue. I quite like the Fox Blue as well, by Octopus Ink. I think all of Sailor are my favorites, basically. They're just too good. So there's that. I will label them now and come back to you in a second. Okay, so I just these inks just dried and I wrote down my favorites, and this is a visual journal by Strathmore in 90-pound watercolor, so it's 190 GSM, and I don't think this is watercolor. I don't think this is 100% cotton stock, but it behaves very similar to me. Like, to me, it looks very similar, and it's also what we used for these. Oh, this looks now a bit better, but imagine this, but much more saturated and beautiful. I don't think a camera can pick up the range of colors on this ink. It's that good. It's the Sailor one. Sailor Dipton. I think it was the Ripe Fig one. So what I want to do is try my favorite inks on nicer stock, just to compare them. because this is quite a cheap sketchbook. It's got a lot of feathering and potentially some bleeding. Oh wow, a lot of bleeding. That's Sailor Dipton. It could be from the amount of water I added, so I'll keep an eye on that as well. One of the most beautiful ones, just like plain color ones, is Iroshizuku Hana Ikada. I've been looking for a nice pinkish, peachy, I don't know what to describe, it's like coral peach kind of color. Coral pink. Yeah, I can't describe this color, but it's between pink and coral. And yeah, there's a lot of nice inks here that I just want to try on a bigger scale, because this is quite small. So let's try that. And I'll use, oh wow, this blue ink is really too bleedy. Where should I do it? Don't want to mess this up. Don't really want to. I think I'll leave this page blank because I was painting on, there's quite a lot of media on these two pages, so I don't want to make it bad, if that makes sense. But I'll paint on this page instead. Okay, I'm going to zoom in this time, and I'll try and check that I'm in focus as well. Let me just line up the inks for you, so there'll be a cut. Okay, so I just lined them up. These two I put on the side, they'll be last, but I don't want to knock them while I dry my brush. In fact, I was using this brush. So I'm just going to start. Should I? I don't know how to do it. I'll just start with a dry brush. So let's start with Octopus Ink Alpaca Pink. And I'm hoping that this won't feather or bleed like the other one did. It's not the most saturated, but I think for line work, like delicate line work, and when I say line work, they're not really suitable to be left in fountain pens. They can be used in fountain pens, but they recommend that you empty and wash a pen after each use. But you can use a brush, you can use a tiny brush, you can use a nib, like a metal nib, or you can use a glass nib pen. So there's lots of ways you can use line work with this without using a fountain pen if you're worried about that. I don't know, it's not the most exciting color, but it's nice enough. And I'm really curious whether you thought your favorite colors were similar to the ones I picked. If you're outraged and there was one I missed, let me know. I'd love to hear about that. Oops, that was an unfortunate. So this is Iroshizuku Hana Ikada. Oops, I forgot to... I'm not really left with much ink on my brush. Okay, Diamine Silver Fox. I forgot to maybe drop it. Yeah, it's too late. Let's do Diamine. It's quite thin, I don't think, but I can see a lot of separation, so I wonder what that's. Separation is where like the colors are draggy. I don't know how to describe it, but you can kind of see the pigments following the brush. So that's why I added a bit of water to it. And actually all of these tests should come out nicely, even though I did them slightly late. This page will be very pale. Then we have Iroshizuku Takesumi. Oops, there's a bubble. I really don't want it to break. and make everything dirty, I think. More. Really nice ink, a bit dark. I think this was black, so fair enough. It's supposed to be dark. And it's really lovely. I'm going to drop a bit of water. I don't want to spoil that bit here. It's got like cold tones to it, but it's, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's really lovely. Up here I can see everything and it's in focus and everything's in view. That's better. I learned my lesson, huh? I've realized this. I needed to move stuff before I went out of shot. Anyway, I'm getting rambly, which I guess if you've been here a while, you're probably used to know. Okay, clean my brush. This one's Sailor Dipton Ripe Fig. Ooh. Oh yeah, that's my favorite, isn't it? I think I'm going, as soon as I run out of this, I might buy. I really hope they're available on English market. Like in the UK, because... Or if not, I know where to get it from. The German website, right? It just brings me joy to look at this ink. I can't really drop much water into it because there's already quite a lot on the page. Oh well. By far my favorite. I'll even put it on the side because it looks like space. I don't know. It looks like yeah. It's just great. This is my first time ever using a Sailor ink. And I have to say I'm impressed. I can see why it's more expensive than other inks. Not all Sailors that I not all the samples that I got are like that. This one certainly is. Okay, I'm going to stop and move on. This one's also Sailor, but it's number 224. So this was also lovely, but not as like in your face beautiful. Which can be a good thing. If you're interested in this sort of effect, like watercolory effect, I've recorded a video on using inks like you would watercolors. I'll link it in the cards, so if you're on like in a browser, you should see it above on the video, or if not, it will be also in the description. Okay, Octopus Fox Grey. Ooh, very dark. I like this. So this stock is quite slightly rough. This one's much more smooth. So this is mixed media. This is more aimed for watercolor. I want the tiniest amount of water. Still a lot went in, but that's okay. So yeah, Fox Grey. It's not quite the same as Payne's Grey, but it's similar. This color separation is just great. If I can't put it in the fountain pen, I will. I think it's worth it. Oh, and it's got sheen as well. I'll show you in a second, but this ink has a green sheen, which means when it's dry, where the color was the most concentrated, it's gone shiny. The Celadon Cat, especially when it's wet, it's super beautiful. And the shade and the way it moves on the page is pretty cool. But when it dries, it loses that differentiation of color for some reason. Not sure why. Then we have Sailor Dipton Coral Humming, and this is one I was like wondering whether I swatched it nicely as I could, because I couldn't see much separation, and most Sailor inks are separating, so at least so far that I've noticed. So let's try it again. I want to use quite a big, like a bigger concentration of it. It has a alcohol smell. Don't quite like that. I hope it wasn't tampered with, but I kind of trust that it wasn't. You can get quite like peachy backgrounds with it probably. Like both these colors are lovely. So is it Iroshizuku and Dipton, they're kind of similar vibes. Sweet pinks. Then we have 1, 2, 3. $123. Silly me, didn't leave enough space for this ink. Again, the ink follows the pigment follows my hand, like my brush strokes, so that's really neat. I wish I left more space for this ink, but I'm still as happy as I was earlier. In a way, it's very similar to the way this one works, in that there's very similar pinkish color separation, but this one's more purple and this one's also got... Honestly, they're very similar. One is maybe a little bit darker than the other. You can maybe see more now. And then we have Blue Flame. So off camera I numbered them all, so I can't confuse them anymore. I thought you wouldn't want to sit through someone writing almost 13 numbers. I forgot this one's bleeding, so I won't be using it on this, and I should have used a lot less of it. We'll see on this stock whether it does bleed or not, but I'll be careful with the water. Wow. Talk about pigment overdose. My whole jar of water became blue. Which is slightly annoying because I'm almost done. Hopefully it won't impact. There's not that much pigment in it. Yeah, it's pretty see-through. Okay, now we have Herbin. No. That's a mistake. That's not the one I wanted. The alcohol smell from... Is it this ink? I can't remember which ink it was, but it's really terrible. It does smell like someone added some weird thing to the ink, or maybe it's made this way. Let me know, because I don't know if that's a problem or if that's a normal thing. I've mixed up Orange Skunk with the other color, but I found it. Oops, I damaged the brush. And I'm again not leaving enough space for... So this one was one of the ones that were feathering quite a lot, so like going a bit fuzzy around the edges on my other sketchbook. So that's why I wanted to try it out. We shall see. And another Chico. Oh, I still want to drop a drop. Okay, let's do another Chico. I'm having to be creative with space. Sorry about the noise, it's just how this house sounds. So I can't change that. But I noticed that the background noise that you just heard comes out a lot louder than it is in reality. So that's really strange when I edit the video to hear that. And then we have haha. We'll end on the hi note. Oh my god, that was bad. Yeah, I'm not good with puns. Doesn't stop me from trying. And this one's haha. I want to use more. Okay, that should be good enough. Just going to drop a tiny bit more here and there. Most of the inks are dry now. This one's still wet. Okay, I think that'll be it. I made it less visible, but anyway. Okay. I just noticed that this was a bit off camera. Hopefully not too badly. So to sum it up, we have Alpaca Pink by Octopus Write and Draw. We have Iroshizuku, and it did a bit better than on the other sketchbook, but I think I've added either too much water or it's not meant to be diluted with water, which is fair enough. Iroshizuku Hana Ikada, really lovely kind of color separation. It gives me joy to look at it. It looks like, I wanted to say sakura blossoms, cherry blossoms. So one I will definitely be adding to my shopping basket at some point in the future. Diamine Silver Fox, it's quite cool. Not much to say about grays, but I like to use them for painting, like sky and stuff like that. Takesumi by Iroshizuku. It's nice black, but it's got like greenish, I don't know, I want to call it subtone, but I don't really know what subtone means. Subtone, I don't know, but it's got this weird, you can kind of tell that it's a different color than just black. We have Ripe Fig by Sailor Dipton, really lovely separating color. In reality, again, it's this one here. It's very purple, very bright, super lovely. I imagine if I made artwork with it, I would have to be a bit careful about like just doing it in the first place if I wanted to scan it in or take a photo of it, because those colors will not come across unless you see them in person. That is just the case with some really bright colors. So imagine beauty. It's not as grey and dull as it looks here. Then we have Sailor 224, really lovely, and it's got a bit of sheen when dry. Oh yeah, and Ripe Fig has this lovely green, dark green sheen to it to top it off. Sailor 224, it's got a bit of a sheen like bluish sheen, and it's got a lovely color separation into like greenish, very lovely pink, grey. And then we have Octopus Fox Grey, which I thought was a bit like Payne's Grey, which I still think is true. Yeah, just grey with blue. Pretty cool. You can achieve a lot with one ink. Celadon Cut by Diamine. I think it's only doing not as nicely because it's compared to such expensive inks. But Diamine is a great brand if you don't want to spend a lot. I found their inks quite good enough. Yeah, I think they're, for the price you're paying for them, they're amazing. And some of them are my favorite inks, like Air Grey, and some of their shimmering inks are beautiful. And they're gold. I don't know if they still make the gold one. The best gold I've ever owned. So yeah, I recommend, if you don't want to break the bank and you want to try playing with ink, Diamine is generally a very good shout. Then Sailor Dipton, Coral Humming. Yeah, I mean the color is nice, but doesn't have all those extra properties, so I probably wouldn't pay extra just to get Sailor ink for this one. Sailor Inks 123, 123. Very similar to 224. And in my other sketchbook, are they similar? This one's 224 and this one's 123. I think they're very similar, if not same looking. Yeah, in my other sketchbook they look exactly the same, pretty much. And in this one they're slightly different, but not much. Then we have Deep Blue Flame. It's not bleeding on this page yet, so that's a bonus. It's Sailor Dipton Blue Flame, and it's got a lot of sheen. Purple. So this is still wet, but next to it is already dried paper, and it's really nice. And when you look at it like this, it's got two colors available when dry, so that's pretty. Octopus in Orange Skunk. It's definitely doing much better on this stock. It didn't bleed or anything like that. It didn't feather, unlike the other stock, so it might have been a fluke earlier. Sailor, I want to say Sailor Moon. Sailor Manio Nadeshiko. Lovely blue. In this test, I'm not seeing much separation, but there was some separation in the original one. It's much more subtle. Still okay, still pretty. And Sailor Manio Haha. It's got a lot of separation. My favorite has to be Ripe Fig. And then followed by, if this didn't bleed, it would have been my number one, but it can't be because it's bleeding. Maybe Iroshizuku and one of the Sailor Studio inks. And I can't decide which one. And obviously Harbin Scented Violet, but I would only use it very sparingly because the room smelled of violets for like half of this video. And I only used like a tiny amount. Yep, I think that's it. I think we've gone through all that I wanted to go through. Or is this ever the case? I don't know. Because I could talk about this for hours, but I think we've come to an end. Yeah, I'm curious, what do you think is your favorite ink from these or from your own collections? Any recommendations for getting sample inks, ink samples in UK, I would appreciate, and I'm sure people reading your comments would also. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, don't forget, it helps me keep this channel going. You can subscribe, to my channel. You can also subscribe to notifications if you hit the bell icon. I release new videos every week, at least once, if not twice a week. So usually on Sunday around midday UK time, and occasionally during the week as well, in the middle of the week if I have extra that I can share with you. I also have Patreon and an Etsy shop. All links will be dropped down below so you can check it out. My new comic just came out and it's available on Etsy. It's based on an hourly day comic, and you can read it, you can see the process video of it and my sketches in a video that I'll link up for you as well, just in case you're interested. Yeah, so I think that's it. I hope you have a lovely day artsing, and until next time, bye!